Submitting to your husband, dirty texts, dick pics, and boiling over. Stop using boundaries, guys. You have an apology problem. You are holding yourself back. What you can do or what to do when you're not having sex. You've never seen us in action. There is always something that you need to do better. Submitting to your husband. Welcome to the Morrow Marriage podcast, guys. And today I thought this would be fun because all you ever get to see is me writing a post about a man submitting to a woman or a woman submitting to a man. And it's very confusing sometimes because I have a lot to say. I break that up into two posts, one version, one side, and then the next day will be the next one. And I mean, the last time I did this was around the time of the book launch when I did back to back. And I think it did 7 million views or something like that, which is perfect for book launch, right? But let's talk about it today. I don't know if we've ever actually gone full on into the submission. And that word triggers a lot of people, a lot of women.
It makes people angry.
Yeah, it makes people angry. And I believe it, though. I mean, if you think about the premise of what we talk about on this podcast about giving, okay? If you think about how you get what you give, right? No longer do something to like giving to get, but without the expectation, inherently, if you're kind, people are kind to you. If you're respectful, people are respectful to you. Inherently. That's why I get a lot of asshole men trashing my content, trashing me, because I'm not exactly kind to them with what I have to say. And it's because I'm sharing 99% of my own mistakes, okay? From some version of me in the past, okay? So I want to talk about submission. See, I do believe a woman should submit to her husband. I think you should. And I don't mean get down on your knees right here. I mean, you can wait, but I mean...
That's not what that means.
What I mean is this, that she serves me. You love me. You take care of me. You are edifying me. You're lifting me. You are just every bit of the part of me that I don't have, you know, on top of my confidence to the next new level, okay?
Respecting his leadership, following his leadership, respecting his leadership. I said that twice. That's how important respecting his leadership is.
There we go.
I sandwiched it in there.
But that's cute. But here's the thing, you know, I also have to do all of these things for Kathryn first. And what we learned in the journey was there are certain things that is just, she just gets to have first, like feelings. So if we look at that,
which is really funny because if we look back at the course of our marriage, there were a lot of feelings that you had.
Well, that's why it is funny, because that's why I teach what I teach, guys.
That's why we teach it.
It's just what I said, right? Like if we think about like men, I know a lot of men don't want to hear this, but if you understand that everything that's a problem in a marriage stems from your emotions, how you hurt, how you feel, how you share your feelings, breaking down the communication, building the wall between you, the disconnection from sex, every single portion of that, every problem involves feelings and emotions. So if we understand that men must be the fucking problem in marriage based on that alone, doesn't matter if you're abusive, doesn't matter, hey, if your wife's 10% of the abuse is kicking you in the balls. Why? Because everything is emotion. If we know that we must give to our wives the space to have her emotions, okay, which can still be a struggle for me. I mean, it's struggle, you're never perfect, you know?
What? I'm not perfect?
No, me.
Oh,
baby, you're not perfect.
Silly
Give me a break.
guy.
All right. So if we understand that that means it's our responsibility to submit to her first, at least for that space for her to have her feelings, for her emotions, to lift her, not fix everything, let her get through everything. This is why you feel like we can connect again. This is why she could develop trust again. This is why Kathryn was able to emotionally connect again, and why she said all of those things. Well, you didn't even give a lot about lifting and supporting and submitting.
Because you said everything.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that, yes, a wife should submit to her husband, but a husband should also submit to his wife. You're submitting to each other. You're very different people. And so people will get really triggered and angry and offended when someone says your wife should submit to the wife should submit to the husband. But it's a two-way street because you're not the same person. Yes, I need to edify him, but don't you think he edifies me too?
100%. That's actually how I write the post too. It's like, of course I have to get people to read it because I want the information to get out there. But I write it in such a way, if I'm talking about Kathryn submitting to me or your wife should submit to you, you know, I talk about all the things that I do, right? But first, I talk about everything that feels really good to get from Kathryn. Flip side would be the other way around. When I say wives should not submit to their husband, I then say all the things that a man is not doing in order to get your submission. And if you're biblical, you've totally been bastardized, or this has been bastardized in front of you, for so fucking long. It's followed by, as Christ, you can probably say it better.
Men, love your wives as Christ loved the church.
Right. But it's wives submit to your husbands.
Yes.
As men love their wives like Christ loved the church, right? Which is submission. Let's think about it for a second. And
the Bible also says to submit to each other, men submitting to the wives. It's people just pick what they want and then they get angry about it.
That's right. This is why, like, for years, like, you can tell, I was raised atheist, so I didn't know the Bible. And for years, people would say, is this based off the Bible? And I would say, well, no, I was raised atheist, right? But if you understand the principles, let's use a common one. An affair is a common client that we would get. Okay? Or at least I would get. And then what happens is, he struggles, he deals with those emotions we talked about earlier. And whether you believe in God or not, think about it. If you need to grow, so does your partner. You need to grow. So if you believe in God, it should be hands down. Well, if Jesus could forgive the prostitutes, like if Jesus could forgive anybody in all their sins, then you should be fucking getting this pretty quickly. And if you're not biblical, then look at it like this. You're fucking not perfect. In fact, you're listening to our podcast because you want to be better. That's for almost everybody. It's like 99% of people. It's strictly because you don't want to lose your partner, because you're tired of hurting with your partner, because you want more with your partner, because you want more for them. We have to teach you this is about you. Okay? And then, if that's the case, you should have nothing but gratitude for them, even if it's something like an affair. You should have nothing but understanding if everything led up to now, right? Which is what's causing you to, when you don't think this way, is causing you to pull back and fight for yourself, not to submit to your partner. Act all entitled. This is what I deserve. Wouldn't you agree? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that more of you, man or woman, just need to understand a common theme here. Your partner will lift you. Yes, Kathryn talks about me being a leader, but Kathryn is so fucking gifted at so many things. She's got a brain on her. Like, she's fucking smarter than fucking, well, obviously AI is confused, but
keep going.
Smarter than Google, for crying out loud, right? And
just kidding.
And me.
No.
Excuse me. But Kathryn has her own strengths. If I want those strengths to lift me, not even looking at edification because it feels nice. Okay, but just want those strengths so that my life moves smoother, so that my life like goes in a direction I want it faster. I mean, we're partners. That's the whole point. So there's a lot of areas where Kathryn can lead me. There's a lot of areas where she is gifted. And
guess what that means? That means that in those areas, he is submitting to me. So
Correct.
You guys don't have to get so angry when we say that women should submit to their husbands.
That's
you
right.
should. And it doesn't matter if your husband isn't submitting to you. You still need to submit to your husband. You still need to do what's right. You still need to lead your husband in that direction. Mm-hmm. You need to soften him. Use those beautiful skills that you have to edify your husband and get him to feel like the man that he was created to be, because that man will submit to you. Mm-hmm. So you might have to start, as long as you don't get angry at feeling like you have to submit. Mm-hmm. You should submit. But the goal is reciprocal submission.
Yeah, you both have strengths. So the partnership, why we talk about the superpower couples, because there's no way that either one of us could be where we are today, for obvious reasons, what we do with work, but even just regular goals. I mean, you probably figure out the farm, for example, but I'm sure I know how much you appreciate everything that's happening.
I could figure it out, but I can't build the chicken coops. I'd have to someone would have to help me.
Mm-hmm. So you just have to understand, you can take this however you want, from the hobby farm to your sex life, right? To just the way you interact. I mean, how many of you want something better for your kids to see? You want a better example. You don't want to repeat your parents' mistakes. Then you submit to your wife with that respect first, or your husband with that respect first. You understand that you want all these other levels of connection also. So don't be so up high on your little pedestal. It's called a soapbox, preaching for all this shit and who does this and who does. Just aim for the fucking superpower couple and give everything you can in lifting your partner. Be patient with them. Be more impatient with yourself as you learn that you're probably not going to get a reciprocal thing for a while. Your relationship's just not going to go that way. There's no magic fucking pill, right? But start to give more to your partner and lift them.
Yes.
You have anything you want to add?
No, that was it.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.